For most of his life, Mateo Cruz was known as a gentle soul. He was an honest construction foreman, a loving husband, and a quiet father. He'd never been in a fight, never even raised his voice. He believed that kindness could solve even the hardest problems. But one night, that belief was shattered. A serial killer was terrorizing their province, and through a cruel twist of fate, Mateo was the last person seen near the crime scene. But with no lawyer, no money, and no powerful family to defend him, the verdict was swift and brutal. 5 years in prison for crimes he did not commit. Mateo expected prison to be hard, but he never imagined it would be a living hell. Every morning, his meager meal was stolen before he could take a single bite. Every afternoon, a random shove or a punch would send him sprawling. Every night, the mocking laughter of other inmates echoed in his ears, calling him weak, useless, prey. He tried to make himself invisible, hiding in corners, behind metal beds. Even behind the chapel door anywhere, he thought the fists wouldn't follow, but they always found him. He never fought back, not once. He held on to his belief that fighting back would make him no better than a beast. The guards looked the other way. The other prisoners fed on his weakness. 5 years passed like this. 5 years of starvation, bruises, and relentless humiliation. And with each passing day, something inside him slowly died. Then came the 1827th day. It was lunchtime. 3 prisoners cornered him, their shadows falling over him like a death sentence. One of them snatched his meal tray, but another grabbed him, holding his arms. The last one started punching him over and over, laughing, mocking, spitting on him. But this time, Mateo didn't feel anger. He didn't feel fear. He felt nothing at all. A strange, cold emptiness filled him. He remembered the martial arts he had studied years ago, purely for fitness karate, judo, and Muay Thai. Skills he had never once used in violence. Skills he never thought he would need. But that day, his spirit was gone. His kindness was gone. His hope was gone. He stood up, and with the darkest, most terrifying calm he had ever felt, he fought back hard, too hard. When the chaos subsided, the floor was covered with the bodies of those who had tormented him for years. And a new, terrifying darkness inside him screamed for more. In the months that followed, Mateo transformed. He fought every bully, every gang leader, every tormentor who dared to cross his path. He became feared, deadly, unstoppable. He took the lives of more than 12 prisoners, each one a man who had beaten, starved, or tortured him. He covered his body in tattoos, not for art, but as marks of war, symbols of death, reminders of the monster he had become. The weakest man in the prison was now its undisputed king, a figure so terrifying that even the guards trembled in his presence. But when he looked in the mirror, he no longer recognized the man staring back. Then, in his 6th year behind bars, the truth finally came out. The real serial killer surrendered, confessing to every crime. Mateo was exonerated instantly. He was free. But freedom no longer felt like freedom. While he was locked away, his world had crumbled. His wife, unable to bear the shame and isolation, had left him and disappeared without a trace. His beloved daughter, bullied mercilessly because of the lies people believed about her father, had taken her own life before he could ever hold her again. When Matteo walked out of the prison gates, there was no one waiting. No family, no home, no purpose. The whispers followed him. People still saw him as dangerous, a killer. No one truly believed he was innocent. No employer would risk hiring a tattoo-covered ex-convict with a violent reputation. He was free, yet he had never felt more trapped. Hopeless, crushed by the weight of the lives he had taken inside, Matteo wandered into a church late one night. He fell to his knees before the altar and confessed everything, every sin, every death, every moment of pure, unadulterated hate. He didn't ask God for forgiveness. He only asked for peace. The next morning, he walked into a police station. "I have killed people," he told the officers. "I deserve punishment." But they just laughed at him. No one's going to investigate what happened in there. There's no evidence left. You're free whether you like it or not. Matteo walked out of the station more lost than ever before. He was a ghost, haunted by his past, with no place in the world. Then, one day, a pastor from the very church where he had poured out his soul found him. The pastor didn't judge him. He invited him to speak. With shaking hands and a trembling voice, Matteo shared his story, the injustice, the suffering, the rage, the monster he became, and the crushing guilt he now carried. To his surprise, people listened. They truly listened. He began speaking more often at shelters, at community centers, at youth groups. He spoke about the poison of injustice, the destructive power of hatred, and the long, difficult path to forgiveness. He started spending his days at the church, not just speaking, but helping. He fixed broken chairs, cleaned the floors, and sat with those who felt lost and alone, offering a quiet comfort he himself had been denied for so long. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. People stopped seeing the tattoos first. They started to see the man again, the broken, gentle soul that was still there, buried underneath the scars. A year later, Matteo Cruz, the man who was once a prisoner and then a king of killers, became a pastor. He preached every day, sometimes to large crowds, sometimes to a single lost soul seeking refuge. He dedicated his life to helping troubled youths, guiding broken families, and counseling prisoners, telling them that their darkest moment does not have to define their future. For the first time in years, he felt alive. He felt forgiven. He felt reborn. Matteo never got his family back. He never erased the scars on his skin or in his heart, and he never ever forgot the darkness he had walked through. But he found something far greater. He found his calling. He became a light for others precisely because he knew what it was like to be lost in the deepest, most absolute darkness. And he lived the rest of his days in service, humility, and finally, in peace. His story teaches us that injustice can shatter even the kindest hearts, which is why we must always fight for fairness and truth. It shows us that bullying destroys lives, but that redemption is always possible, no matter how far we've fallen. And it reminds us that our deepest pain, once healed, can become our greatest source of strength to help others. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of the human spirit.